All right, hello. Huh. Anyone, if you can't hear me, well, this is my first stream, so just let me know if there's technical difficulties preventing you from hearing me. But I've done a bunch of tests of this, and I think it's working out pretty well. What an unusual game for me to choose to play for my first stream, right? I think I may be one of the earliest adopters. This game actually just came out. It's called, as you can see, 6 Ages Ride Like the Wind. That was why I was playing that Christopher Cross song in the background. I doubt that the developers actually meant for... I doubt that they actually were thinking about Christopher Cross, but I immediately thought of Christopher Cross because maybe I'm a little bit of a dork. Hello, hail to everyone. Oh, it's so good to see you all. And I'm eager to get into this. So we're going to start a new game of Ride Like the Wind, or 6 Ages Ride Like the Wind, which is what this is called. I believe, and there may be people here from A Sharp, which is the company that developed this game, who can tell me, but I believe these other scenarios that we see here, Lights Going Out and The World Reborn, are actually forms of DLC that are going to be available because they say coming next and coming later. But yeah, I'm sure that I think there are going to be A Sharp people here, and they can hopefully clarify that. I've been playing for a little bit, as you can see, but I'm going to start a new game and just dive right into this because I'm very excited by it, as I'm sure you can tell. The costume that I've done is not, unfortunately, based on this game or King of Dragon Pass, which is its predecessor, because I'm not sure there are any costumes that specifically deal with Glorantha, which is the fantasy realm where this takes place. But I tried to get as close as possible to the costumes that I see the rider people who I'm going to be playing in this game wear into battle. So forgive me for the lack of complete Gloranthan historical authenticity here. But yes, hopefully you can, anyone who is really into Glorantha here can forgive my sartorial deficiencies. But I've been talking about Glorantha a lot, so let's talk briefly about what Glorantha is. Glorantha is a fantasy realm that was created by Greg Stafford in 1975. He was apparently, and this is, I don't know him personally, thank you. Ryder clarified that the next games will be separate apps. And I'm sure it's going to take me a long time to work through this one. So, yeah, I just wanted to see what that was all about. But this seems like it's going to hold my attention for a long time. Glorantha. We're seeing some of this beautiful wood carving style art here. I don't know how much of the art was done by the same people who worked on the predecessor game, King of Dragon Pass, but it's beautiful in any event, and unlike anything that I think you will typically see in a video game today. Glorantha is this fantasy setting. There are a lot of different cultures in Glorantha that are different from what you would normally see in a fantasy game. I mean, you've got dwarves and elves and so on and humans, but the dwarves and elves are very different from what you would expect to see in your sort of standard Tolkien-esque fantasy realm. Dwarves are sort of machine worshippers, as far as I can tell, and they're wearing gas masks and all kinds of like steampunk-looking attire and build fearsome machines that can go into battle against you. The elves are plant worshippers who I believe in some cases can turn into trees and perhaps can turn you into trees. I was never 100% clear on that, but they have a very strong affinity for trees, a very strong association with trees. So I'm going to play, as I was saying, a clan of what's known as the Rider people, who are I believe at one time they were nomadic people like the Mongols, but here they have settled or are settling in this valley that we're about to see in the beginning of this game. This is sort of like Bronze Age Earth. In the original King of Dragon Pass, you played what are called the Orlanthi, which were a lot like Vikings. And they actually, as it turns out in this game, are one of the primary enemies of the Rider people. The Riders may be related, I'm not sure about this, but to what were known as the Horse Spawn in King of Dragon Pass, who were also horse nomads that were a real thorn in the Orlanthi's side. And I won't give any spoilers, but yeah, the association between the Orlanthi and the horse spawn gets very close. And it seems like something like that might happen in this game as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to begin essentially designing our rider clan from the ground up by talking about what our people did as part of their sort of origin story, like early on in their history. So the story of my rider clan begins not long after the gods made people. The Golden Age was a time of harmony ruled by the sun god Yelm and his appointees. Your clan traces its ancestry back to those times. Which of the gods did they favor? So we have Emperor Yelm, the sun god, and we have Nialda, the great earth mother. I'm going to pick Emperor Yelm. This is going to determine a lot of the attributes of my clan as we get further into the game, such as and we'll get more into the details, but your clan worships a bunch of different gods and can get blessings from those gods if you sacrifice for those blessings. You sacrifice cattle or goods, or if you build a shrine to them, you can get a permanent blessing that lasts over time. So I built a shrine to the sun. The Golden Age ended when the storm god Umath, there we go, yes, Umath forced his way into the world through a flaw in the sky dome. Constantly moving and violent, he rebelled against Yelm. Yelm's celestial sons responded, sending Umath crashing to his death in the far north. Other gods fought us as well. As instability spread, humans became more dependent for survival on the gods. In turn, humans helped the gods. Which famous event of the gods did your ancestors support? And this is going to have a lot of impact on which gods my clan is associated with, which blessings I know to start out with, which shrines I've built in the beginning. So let's look at these. We have got the cow mother, who is known as Uralda for the Orlanthi, but for the riders is known as Busenari. We have Elmal, who is a sun god that is worshipped by both the Orlanthi and the rider people, as it turns out, important in both of their pantheons. Wise Rolandar, I believe he is the equivalent of Lankor Mai for the Orlanthi, but he's sort of the god of lore and writing things down and custom and tradition and so forth. Buseryan, he is, who was the wilderness god? But there's a god of hunting. It wasn't Vinga. No, Vinga's like warrior women. Well, in any event, he's the god of hunting and tracking and so forth. Irissa, the equivalent in King of Dragon Pass is Chalana Arroy. Irissa is the goddess of healing. So if we pick her, we're going to get bonuses associated with healing. The grain contest of Urkonus, where the barley goddess Pella prevailed over millet and bezel. Obviously, very important to have good crop yields because you are a farming people and you raise livestock and so forth. So that's going to be important. The Brass Bazaar, where Ikarna acted as broker between Nida Mountain and Gennert's Garden. Ikarna is the equivalent of Isseries. Odela, thank you, Devastatings. Odela is the hunter goddess of the Orlanthi. Ikarna is the equivalent of Isseries. She's the goddess of trade, a god who I usually end up having a strong affinity for in the game because as you'll see, having a lot of trade routes increases the goods that you possess, and goods are a sort of a currency that you can use to buy things. You can buy food from another clan, for instance, if you become desperate for food. You can trade goods for a magical item that may be able to help you in battle and so forth. When the Weris Moor joined us as citizens, that's one that I don't necessarily, I can't draw a parallel between that and King of Dragon Pass. Presumably that affects the size of your clan, but I won't speculate too much about it because I'm not that familiar with it. So what I'm going to do is I love getting lots of goods because they enable me to do helpful things like buying food if I need it, or bribing other clans who want to start a fight with me and would otherwise crush me and so forth. So, Ikarna. Ever since men and women of our clan have been gifted with an eye for bargains. So kind of like the Ferengi, I guess. We're sort of the rider Ferengi. Umath's son Orlanth led a conspiracy of rebel gods against Emperor Yelm. Armed with the new power of death, he slew Yelm, sending his life to the underworld. Orlanth is a storm god. He's an honorable guy. He's what you would consider to be sort of chaotic good, right, if we were to talk about the D&D universe. But he is certainly chaotic in that he's a storm god. He has a stormy disposition. He's kind of violent, right? And he apparently, and his people, the Orlanthi, are going to be a significant enemy of me and my rider people in this game. Okay, When the sun fell from the sky, the empire fell apart. Smaller suns lit the world in Yelm's place. Darkness and sea gods became a threat, and the storm god Orlanth and his violent allies dominated. What was the worst danger your ancestors faced at this time? Here we have trolls fled the underworld to the surface darkness. Always hungry, they tried to devour the herds. Trolls exist in this game, and they will eat just about anything, including you, which is one reason why it's very difficult for any sort of rapprochement, as they say in French, to exist between the humans and trolls, because they want to eat you. A great flood drowned the empire. We helped Anaxiel the sailor build a great ship to save civilization. So presumably this has to do with my ability, my sort of naval abilities. The War of Many Suns, when pretenders to the solar throne fought to assert control over our golden city, Nivora. The Ram people, who are the Orlanthi, marched on the empire, raising the city of Elimpur. We helped the emperor avenge it. When the city of Chimes wanted to surrender to the Scorpion Queen, apologies to the Rock, we gave them heart. Our worst danger came later. Again, that last option. I'm wary of picking it because I can't draw a clear parallel. Yes, indeed. If I could do the whole thing en français, I would. Devastating. So, trolls are pretty likely to be my enemy in any event, regardless of what I pick, because, as I said, of their penchant or penchant for eating humans. All right, the trolls came back again and again, but our ancestors learned magic so we could defend against them. So bite that, trolls. Many more gods died as the gods' war worsened. Hyalor of Nivora found the crippled spirit who had once been the winged, fanged hippogriff. He saved her from death and made an alliance. Hyalor gave her a new name, Gamari, and she allowed him to ride. So this was a pivotal moment in our rider culture's adoption of riding on horseback and training horses and so forth. Hyalor returned to your ancestors with this secret. They became the first riders. We learned how to ride them down, to make a reference that only only people I've known for like 20 years or more, or 30 years maybe on this stream will get. Storm and Cold continued their conquests. Orlanth's barbaric worshippers sacked Elimpur, the Dara Hapan Empire's southernmost city. A great sheet of ice crushed the city of Verapur, despite its volcano gods. It ground relentlessly south. The emperor began building an immense dome to hide under. Rather than cover inside, the citizens of Nivora chose to move away from the glacier. And again, yep, here's the glacier in all its terrifying glory, about to consume the golden city of Nivora. So much attention to detail in this art, it's wonderful. Your ancestors had trained horses to ride. Others drove chariots. Everyone had to leave plenty of their gods behind. Which god did you bring? Okay, Buserion is the god of riding. Okay, I think I may have said something about him being the god of cattle, so, strike that from the record. He's actually god of riding. Tepekos, god of smiths. A minor god who you see occasionally. I don't remember his exact name, but he's also someone who you have a sort of a marginal association with as the Orlanthi. Narva, goddess of brewing. Perendetto, god of glassmaking. And Nocelli, goddess of the red dye insect. As exotic and interesting as that sounds, I'm not sure what use I'm going to be able to put red dyed insects to. So I'm going to pick something a little bit more reliable, particularly because I'm sort of going to be a trade-oriented people. At least that's my plan right now, although the best laid plans go awry in the harsh world of Glorantha. Let's do the god of writing. We were one of the few clans who could still read and write, even in this dark age brought about by this glacier that threatened to kill everybody. The citizens of Nivora loaded their possessions and headed in the 4 directions. Your ancestors headed south. They had to fight plant folk, stone folk, ram people, and trolls. They prevailed and prospered until there was not enough room for all of them. They divided into 4 groups. One remained, and the other went west, south, and east. Which group were your ancestors? The most warlike? War, in this game, I guess just like real life, is a dicey prospect. It's not a good way to reliably make money or reliably produce income. And if you start wars, then gradually you tend to build resentment among the people who live around you. So we're going to be in this valley. We're only one among many of these rider clans that are occupying this valley. And if indeed I hate trolls, that was meant to be Warwick Davis, but my voice is a little hoarse, so I didn't get the best imitation of him out. My ancestors were, well, if we're going for this trade approach, I want to make them the wealthiest. People were always impressed at the quality of the honor belts of your ancestors. Indeed. People are always expressing surprise at the quality of my honor belt in real life. So, I feel a strong kinship with my clan so far. Your ancestors crossed the mountains to the south. Who do they find on the other side? Farmers, goat herders, or hunters and gatherers. This, of course, is going to affect what, our skills. Are we going to be good farmers? Are we going to be goat herders? Is our clan going to be good at hunting and gathering? I think being a farmer is pretty reliable. Probably more reliable than foraging, at least in my experience playing King of Dragon Pass. But hey, I'm discovering this game like a lot of you are for the first time because it just came out, a few days ago, and I've only had the chance to play a little bit. Once our ancestors might have taken outsiders as slaves, but those days were past. How did you treat the farmers? We chased them away. We took them as half-citizens, or we took them in as citizens. Yeah, I think we'll take them in. I think we'll... It was always helpful in King of Dragon Pass to take in refugees, or not always, because no choice is ever good to make all the time in King of Dragon Pass. But taking in refugees, they could often teach you skills that you wouldn't necessarily know and so forth, unless your food was too low to accommodate them, in which case you would cause people to starve to death. So, it's all a delicate balance, just like everything in this game. The farmer shared secrets of Pella, goddess of the land, with the clan. Your ancestors prospered, dividing into new clans several times. The Charioteers also grew and moved into your valley. The Charioteers appear to be people who are related to the riders, but they drive chariots, or at least their noblemen drive chariots, and they don't believe in the divinity of the horse god who we worship. They said the ice was on the move and named war on you. Those bloody wheels. Finally, you took what you could and again headed south over the mountains to a wide valley. Your scouts reported that the best pastures were already taken, but found land along the right bank of an untamed river. Indeed, devastating. Heretic scum and villainy. But found land along the right bank of an untamed river. Life here would start out easier than last time. Okay, this is a difficulty level here. About the same time as our last migration. Harder, since we had fewer resources and fewer friends. Much harsher, almost as if the entire world opposed us. And I can virtually guarantee you there are certain times when you play this game, regardless of the difficulty level you choose, when you're going to feel like the entire world opposes you. When you're going to be fighting the world, as it were. Every single day. So, about the same as our last migration is what I'm going to pick, which looks roughly like normal difficulty level, right? It may not be easy. We know it won't. But once you build up your shrines, you should be able to produce enough food. Okay, so here's Blazing Axe. I don't think anybody can reasonably object to Blazing Axe as my clan name. I certainly don't. It's nothing like a name like that to stir my blood. Restores, okay, the number of times I can restore the game in the event of a catastrophe, which is going to happen often. And now we're going to start, and we'll start getting our first taste of the main game's mechanics here. Oh, here we go. This is Sacred Time. Sacred Time occurs at the beginning of every year. During Sacred Time, you can allocate your clan magic to a bunch of different functions, a bunch of different aspects of your clan's life, if you will. So you've got, for instance, fields, pastures, wilds. If I put magic in fields, for instance, that means that my fields will either expand, or perhaps I'll get more crop yield from the fields and so forth. It's never 100% clear what the magic does, but it has a positive effect when it comes to fields, right? Magic is kind of a random thing that way. Pastures having to do with cattle, wilds, so foraging and hunting in the wildlands. Crafts, making goods, as I said, very important for a trade culture such as my own. Harmony, I believe that refers to harmonious relationships between your clan and the other ones that populate this area. Health, that's going to be very important. Exploring, very important as well for getting to know. Well, there's a lot of things that you can do. There are a lot of additional benefits to exploring that didn't exist in King of Dragon Pass, as far as I can tell. Like you can forage when you're exploring to find food, as opposed to just looking around to find magic items, which, in my recollection, is the normal function of exploring in King of Dragon Pass. Ritual. Ritual is like a hero quest in King of Dragon Pass. What you do is you actually transport someone from your clan into what's known as the realm of the gods. And in this realm of the gods, they attempt to reproduce a heroic quest that one of the gods of your people did in ancient times, in the time of the gods. And if they do so, that will bring a boon to your people. So that's going to become important, but also very dangerous. Also could kill the person who goes on the hero quest. So it has great risk and great reward. Now I've got 8 magic, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. And also, yeah, you can see all these numbers here. You got my herds, which are my cattle, my swords, which are the equivalent of weapon thanes in King of Dragon Pass. These are professional warriors who fight full time, as opposed to the majority of your people who need to spend their time farming and foraging and so forth in order to eat. Those are the number of clans, I believe, who like you, who particularly like you, although it's all kind of a spectrum. Fear, those are the clans that fear you. Again, I believe, again, if A-sharp people correct me if that's not true, but I know what hate and mock means, at the very least. Given the amount of hatred and mockery, that's always in my mind. No, hate, that's the number of clans that hate you, right? And so they could do nasty things to you. They could attempt to place curses on you. They might make war on you, and so forth. So trying to deal with hateful clans, clans that are feuding with you, is a good idea in the early game, because they can really do a number on you if you're not careful. You know, whether it's beating them down to the point where they gradually accept you or gradually make peace with you, or it's appeasing them, or building a trade route with them, or giving them goods or something like that. So also what you'll see goods, as I said, these are kind of the currency that you can spend on lots of different wonderful things. Magic. I have 8 magic points. I can allocate these points among the various types of magic that are listed here in the upper right-hand corner. Charioteers is the name of the current chief of the clan. So what you're going to see, you see 7 people down here, right? This is what's known as the clan ring. These are the advisors. Well, first you've got the chief, Charioteers, right? And then you've got her 6 advisors, who basically with every choice that we need to make will always pipe up. They may pipe up with something completely incoherent and useless, but they will have something to say about what you should do. Now, there's so much attention to detail in this game. What's that? Oh, I see. Okay. Just getting a message. Yeah, we have Charioteers, and we see her, she's giving us advice here. We must ask the gods to help feed us. Allocate magic to fields since they produce the bulk of our food. So she's got advice for me, but also you can see her statistics. She's age 48, and characters do age fairly rapidly in this game, and they will die of old age, and age will affect their attributes. So yeah, just a huge amount of attention to detail. Family ACOT. Family is a new feature of this game, as far as I can tell, unless it was sort of occurred in the background outside the view of the player in King of Dragon Pass. Occasionally, families within your clan can fight with each other or become at odds with each other. And that's something that you, as the ring, sort of the council that's in charge of the clan, will have to resolve. Then you have all her stats, bargaining, combat, diplomacy, and so forth, and it shows you how good she is at each of these things. She worships Busanari, the god of writing, so kind of an interesting person to be in the role of chieftain. It's important to have a bunch of different gods represented on your ring. So she worships Busanari. Let's look at these other people who are on the ring. We have Zaxoro, who advocates pastures magic. He worships Hyalor, who is that horse god. It's important to have him on the ring. He's a very important god to our rider people. Gods as well as spirits. Allocate magic to rituals so we can help sacrifice for mysteries. Right. Sacrificing for mysteries means you sacrifice goods or cattle, and if you sacrifice enough to appease one of your gods, then and other random factors work in your favor, then that god will give you a blessing, will give you the ability to cast magic, basically, that helps your people. Maybe by growing more food, maybe by making your walls more difficult to penetrate by invaders, and there are going to be a lot of them. She worships shaman, which is another interesting feature of this game, as opposed to King of Dragon Pass. People who just worship shaman, or shamanism, I guess, I think that has to do with spirits who are distinct from gods, didn't exist in King of Dragon Pass, or at least you couldn't put them on your ring. So it's a whole new dimension to the kind of magic that can be available, and the gods who can influence the way things go in this game. This guy is a worshiper of Ekarna. Very good idea to have someone like that on the ring, since we are sort of an Ekarna-focused trading clan. We have someone who worships Raven. So Raven looks like he or she is kind of the equivalent of Yurmal, who, when you see these dopey-looking people on the ring, and they're always up to no good, the benefit that they give you is that they generate more magic that you can allocate during this sacred time phase, but they also do incredibly dopey things, ruining, your relations with other clans and so forth. and generally playing pranks like Loki and the equivalent god in Norse mythology, or Coyote like the Native American god. So that's the role these ravens play. I'm going to keep her on the ring for now until she starts doing things that are overly dopey, and then I'm going to kick her off. That's the plan right now. Okay, Relandar. Okay. Often it's better to concentrate our magic and Ikarna. Okay, so I have 2 Ikarna worshippers on the ring. I think it might be a good idea for me to reorganize the ring, because having 2 worshippers of a single god on the ring I think may be kind of excessive. But anyway, let's allocate our magic. Okay, so we just got led south over the mountains into this valley by our bold chieftain Chorila. We settled near the untamed Black Eel River, finding new pastors among clans that had moved to the valley earlier. Some were friendly, others less so, as you'll see. Yes, emphasis on the others less so. It was time to rebuild our relations to our gods and neighbors before we ran out of food and wealth we had stockpiled for the migration. We also needed to finish preparing our farmland and homes. We are known for being the last clan to arrive in the valley, but certainly not the least. Let's do some diplomacy. So I just put 1 point in diplomacy. As you can see, my magic went down by 1 point. Ritual, because I want to sacrifice for blessings, that is more magical powers that the gods will give me. I definitely want these food-related options here. I want to promote harmony, both ideally within my clan and with other clans. Again, this is one thing I'm not sure about, whether or not that refers to harmony with other clans or within your own people, both of which are kind of equally important. And crafts. And I'm going to save up 2 magic points because there are random events that occur throughout this game where spending magic might be helpful to you in resolving those events. I don't think I'm going to get attacked during this first year, but if I do, I may need to spend magic to help defend myself against invaders. So let's do it. Let's start our first season here. Okay, so here we have a bunch of tabs on the left-hand side of the screen. We've got clan, so we have the number of commoners in the clan. We have the number of children. We have warriors, those swords we've talked about before. And we have nobles. What nobles do with their time is not 100% clear to me. I don't know, maybe they're sort of just in charge. Maybe they're the people who the clan ring is selected from and so forth. So there are a couple of details that I'm a bit hazy on, but we'll surely find out more about this as we go on. What I'm going to do first off is I'm going to reorganize the clan. While I'm at it, I'm going to kick this Raven worshiper off the ring because I'm sure that I can find a better, someone more useful to put in that slot. Okay, so I've clicked her. I've removed her from the ring. Do I have a Nyalda worshiper on here? Because Nyalda is the Earth Mother, so I'm going to want to have someone who worships her. I'm going to remove this Ikarna worshiper because we already have one in the ring. All right, so okay, we don't have an Elmal worshiper on the ring, so I'm going to put this guy on the ring. Elmal is very useful for defending your clan. This flaming lance blessing that he can give you seems very useful, and Elmal is all about defense. Let's see here. Okay, now let's find someone else to balance things out. Dostal is this hunting god, and foraging is going to be useful in the beginning of the game. So I'm going to put a Dostal worshiper on, maybe one who's not. They're both 69, which means they probably don't have long to be on the clan ring. But we'll fill that vacancy if it opens up. I'll put it that way. Only 6 families are on the circle. Oh, okay. So this is a new feature here, which I wasn't aware of until a moment ago. Zarent is missing, and we want to have all the noble families represented on the ring, or else there's going to be trouble, right? Presumably. So what I'll do is I'll get this guy. I'll take him off the ring, and I'll pick one of my Zarents here. Let's see. What do we got? She's a Zarent who worships Osara. Are there any other Zarents? Because she's really young and might be kind of inexperienced. The clan ring members do actually mature and start offering more useful advice the older they get. But of course that also brings them closer to the end of their lives. So it's a trade-off. Just like real life, I guess. All right, let's put this Osara worshiper in the ring. There you go. Let's do it. Woo! Somebody's happy about it at least. All right. Here's our first random event. These are the current. Well, these are sort of the coin of the realm in this game. They're going to be very frequent, and they're going to give you the opportunity to make one of a number of different possible choices, which are going to not only affect you in the moment, not only provide possible bonuses and penalties right after you make the choice, but are going to have ongoing effects on the story as it progresses. So, what do we got here? Urgashites, 23 of them in all, appear on your clan border, bringing with them a herd of unfamiliar-looking goats. Never trust unfamiliar-looking goats, I always say. The goat folk beg to be adopted into your clan. These roving goat herds typically dwell on the other side of the Inther Mountains. Life in the foothills has grown too difficult, the Urgasite elder says. Sakars prey upon our herds. Frost demons steal our children in the night. We performed a divination to our god, Sidar Goatfather. He bid us to come south and seek refuge among your people who honor his wife, Mother Goat. Adopt us, and you will gain keen-eyed herders. We bring a flock with us to establish our worth. Well, that sounds pretty good so far. As much as I don't trust unfamiliar goats, what do my people have to say? Goatfather appears in our stories as the interloper, who appears to lead Uralda or Uryarda away. The Urarda being the goat mother. In hard times, we must be flexible. Okay, let them stay as guests but prove themselves. That's sort of the middle option, which I'm leaning toward right now. Okay, yeah, here's someone who doesn't have necessarily... Sometimes the advice they give is very sort of poetic and lyrical as opposed to being practical and clear. So you have to kind of interpret it a little bit to make sense of it. They'll fit in nicely. Goats make poor chieftains. I'm sure that's the case. I don't want any goats on my ring. That's where I draw the line. Let's see. Oh yes, one of the developers yeah, I'll try to do a little bit more voice acting here. I think that will lighten the mood. When we first came here, we encountered farmers and adopted them as citizens. Okay, that's true. So that would be consistent with our history, and that's one of the reasons why we might lean toward helping these unfamiliar goat people. Our warriors can easily overcome them. Well, I don't want to overcome them. I mean, come on, they're just here with a bunch of goats. I mean, they're not threatening me, really. I'm going to let them stay as guests but prove themselves. Okay. The Urgashites kept their goats separate from ours. Well, that's probably all for the best. Don't let those weird goats, breed with my herd. All right. So now, after I've done this reorganization, I can make a choice about what I want to do next. Every time I make a choice in this game, it advances time, and there's a chance that another random event is going to happen. So, what are we going to do next? We have, as you can see on the left-hand side, near the Wealth tab, there are some problems that the clan is having that are listed, such as limited fields, limited pasture, and food yield shortfall. And then at the top you see houses unfinished. So there's a lot of things that we need to do to get ourselves situated in this new valley that we've moved to. And we can accomplish those things, or some of them at least, by doing a venture. So everybody agrees, I think, the fields are too small. This is interesting right here. It is still early in the year. We could wait a little while before deciding on a venture. So apparently you don't have to begin a venture at the beginning of the year. I tend to, if I see a problem like there's not adequate food, I want to address that as quickly as possible. So I tend to try to begin the venture as quickly as possible. But maybe I want to hold off a little bit and not be so neurotic about it and wait for events to unfold a little bit. We'll see. When in doubt, more clan magic. There don't seem to be many bandits right now. That's a good thing. I'd be happy to lead the entire clan in expanding our fields. You may yet get the chance to do that, sir. Our pasture land isn't yard. Okay, our fields are too small. Okay, so it seems the consensus is expand the fields. And that's what I'm going to do. Halday led the clan in the time-consuming work of removing stones and ripping out concorn ear roots. She had a hard time rousing the clan to the difficult labor. People complained that she had asked too much too fast. At least consecrating the newly cleared fields to Pella and Nialda went smoothly. Okay, so we accomplished something even though people grumbled. People are always grumbling in this game. You're almost never going to be able to satisfy everybody. Your patrollers have been talking with those of your neighbors, the Shining Blossom clan. Like you, the Shining Blossoms are Hyalorings, okay, that's positive news, who ride horses, herd cattle, and goats, and descend from the people who kept their freedom. And these are familiar goats, by the way. These are the standard, run-of-the-mill breed. There's nothing funky about them. Who ride horses, herd cattle, and goats, and descend from the people who kept their freedom by fleeing the destruction of the Golden City. Until recently, the Shining Blossoms have shown little interest in you, as either friend or foe. Well, we can fix that. But gradually they have grown more open toward you, and approach to them might bear good fruit. Let's see. Well, okay, I'm really rolling in goods because of my orientation toward trade. So I can afford to give them a gift. But I'm going to see what my clan ring says first. Wait until they come to us? I don't know about that. I think we want to be good neighbors here. Maybe they know magic secrets we don't. We bow to these hapless poltroons. Yeah, see, I'm a little bit concerned because she keeps saying crazy stuff. Who does she worship? She worships shaman. Okay, so maybe the shamans are just as crazy in some respects as the raven people. It's something I'm going to have to be careful about. If she starts doing bizarre things and, throwing goat dung or something like that on people, on delegations from other clans that show up on my Tula, then I'm going to have a problem with that and kick her off the ring. But for now, I'll tolerate her. Feasts are cheaper than gifts. Okay, there's some practical advice. Our lives will be easier if more clans like us. Either a feast or a gift is a chance of winning their favor. It is they who should petition us for friendship, not the other way around. Who does this guy worship? Relendar. Okay. I think he's like a war god. That's one of the gods. I don't remember what they do, but because he's always talking about war. Better to be feared than loved. I don't know that I necessarily buy that. Okay, well, because feasts are cheaper than gifts, I'm going to throw a feast. At first, you hear some of the guests complain that they would sooner have had a gift of cows. Well, that's kind of offensive. At least among the Orlanthi, being a good guest is very important, and being a good host is very important as well. And people get killed when that doesn't happen. But after the drinking of much strong fermented horse milk, doesn't that sound tasty? You sing together long into the night. All right, well, that went well. And you can see the bonuses that show up on the screen, like the increase in the morale of your people if you make the right choice in one of these random events. Or you can see it go down, which often will happen as well. We need to clear more land. Okay, so we've got this venture going on. I'm going to take a look at the wealth situation, because I don't have any trading partners yet, and trade is a great way to make money, to accumulate goods, which, as I've said, are very useful. We should send out caravans to form trading routes with other clans. And there's some good advice from Miss Raven there that's not totally crazy. So let's take a look at the map. This shows the other clans that are in our area. This is us here, Blazing Axe, right? And then the colors of these other clans indicate their attitude toward us. So the more red they are, as far as I understand, the more that they dislike us. The closer they are to purple, to like light purple, the more they like us. So I think my best bet is going to be to try to establish a trade route with the clan that likes me at the moment. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. We're going to send out a trade caravan to try to establish a trade route. Okay, just a second. I want to make sure. One thing that would be convenient would be to be able to see the map from that screen, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't, picking the wrong clan. Okay, so Grey Wing or Nar Anon. I think the hyphenated clans are wheel clans. That is the drivers of chariots, who disagree with the divinity of Helor, which puts them in tension with us riders. So I'm going to tend to shy away from establishing a trade route with those chariot clans, and instead I'm going to try for, let's say, the Grey Wing, who are right next to me. Okay, so I selected the Grey Wing. Let's see if we can establish a trade route here. Actually, and so if I click on this, we can see their attitude toward us and sort of a summary of what this clan is good and bad at, or what we believe them to be good and bad at, although our information can never, sometimes is not accurate. Known for their fondness for exploring, their chief is Yadrana. They owe us a favor. which means later on we can call in a favor to say if we need some food, we can say, hey, can you give us some food? Remember that you owe us a favor and so forth. Or can you teach us one of the stories of the gods, which are going to become important in a short while. Let's see if we can establish this route. We need to send someone to lead the expedition to the Grey Wing clan. And the person who the game has selected for us by default is a worshiper of Ekarna, which is good because she's oriented toward trade, right? Her bargaining is excellent, so she seems like an excellent candidate to send out to the Grey Wing and see, see if we can get a trade route going. Then we see swords and bows. That's the escort because this Glorantha is a dangerous place, and occasionally you can run into bandits or monsters and so forth, and you don't want them to eat or rob or whatever nasty thing they want to do to your trade expedition. So let's try it out. The Grey Wing traders were pleased to receive the first caravan we sent to them. They agreed to trade with us on a regular basis, and we made a profit from the trip. All right. So it's a win-win. You catch 4 young huntsmen of the Grey Wings poaching on your land. When caught, they say they wandered here in pursuit of game on their own. And were not told to come here by their elders. Okay. And my chieftain's advice is still for Westian burn poachers in fire cages. I assume you're not advising me to burn these kids in fire cages. That seems maybe a little bit extreme for hunting on our land. He was feared but not loved. Okay, well I guess that's intended to be a tale to tell me what not to do. It's like Bad King Urgrain in the original King of Dragon Pass. Don't do whatever Bad King Urgrain did, or you'll find yourself in trouble. Zaxoro. Okay, let them go. Let's see. Well, I mean, I don't necessarily want people poaching on my land. I don't want to encourage that kind of behavior. So I'm leaning toward kind of scaring them a little bit, but letting them go. And I also don't want to murder children. I don't think that that's called for in this situation. I'll go along with the Circle's decision. Hold them for ransom. Yeah, no, doing that to kids, I don't know if I feel totally comfortable with that either. 20 cows is 20 cows. Well, everybody's advocating holding these kids for ransom. I think I'm going to frighten them and let them go because these Grey Wings, I just established a trade route with them. I don't want to kidnap their people, even if they're trespassing on my land, particularly if they're kids. That seems like it might not be good for ongoing relations. So I'm going to say frighten them and then let them go. Oh, so that decreased the mood of my clan because the kids kind of thumbed their nose at me and they were like, screw you, we'll hunt anywhere we want or whatever. All right, and that, of course, that's the kind of thing that can happen. You can never fully tell, what's going to happen when you make a choice in one of these random events here. To some extent, you just have to roll the dice, although there's going to be bonuses and penalties based on a whole host of factors, like what god you worship, what you've devoted magic to, like we did in the first phase of the game, and so forth. All right, so we've got our first trading partner, the Grey Wing. We've got tons of goods. We've got 168 goods, as you can see at the bottom. I think it would be a good idea because it's fire season, which is traditionally the season when raiding takes place between clans. So yeah, not only do you have to deal with the threat of trolls and chaos monsters and non-human enemies, but clans of humans also raid each other in this game. They raid each other for horses. They raid each other because they're angry about insults between the clans and so forth. They fight for all kinds of reasons. And that's why it's important to build some sort of fortification. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to build, let's say, a ditch is 25 goods. This is going to help us when we get attacked. Combat is a little bit more detailed in this game than it is in King of Dragon Pass. And it seems like having whatever advantage you can get in combat is a very important thing. So I'm going to fortify. We have not done enough to ensure people are fed. Without magic, we can't reliably produce enough food. We do have sufficient food for now, but that won't last. Okay. The clan will produce less than we eat during the next year. We can ask for Urarda's milk blessing. First, we'll have to sacrifice for mysteries to learn it. Okay. Okay. Not a bad suggestion, really. Let's go to magic, and now we're going to sacrifice for a blessing. We have Urarda, and if we sacrifice to her, then she may give us one of these blessings here, either kid blessing or milk blessing. If we get one of these blessings, that enables us to, well, either increase the fertility of our goats or increase the yield of our goats, and that in turn is going to get us more food. So that's a good thing. Let's sacrifice to Urarda to see if we can learn some of her blessings here. Usually I sacrifice between 7 and 10 goods. That usually makes sure that I get the god's attention. She unveiled the mysteries of her milk blessing. That's great. We're all going to be drinking, we're all going to get drunk on fermented goat's milk. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Griffin emissaries greet you in your clan border. Their magic is at a low ebb, they say. They will consider a favor if you owe them discharged. If you consider your favor, you owe them discharged if you perform a blessing rite to restore it, giving them good fortune in the trying seasons ahead. Okay, so apparently I owe these people a favor. There's some colorfully dressed folk, aren't there? And here's another example of this great art. Okay, I can gift them with divine magic or spirit magic. That's kind of interesting. I guess that the magic that's showing here on the bottom of my screen is divine magic, and that makes sense because that's what I'm allocating between, you know, fields and pastures and war and all that stuff that we saw in the beginning. I've got a lot of goods here, so I'm going to offer them some goods. This is another reason why our poor luck has also degraded our supply of valuables. Yeah, so I can spare that right now because of the prosperity of my clan right now. And that's what goods are good for. Or one of the many things they're good for is bribing people. And bribery is a very important strategy for survival in this game. All right. Let's see. So here we are again in this screen. Now, so that we can actually turn this blessing on and start benefiting from this milk blessing, we can build a shrine. So here, as you can see, an annual maintenance. So first of all, the cost of building a shrine is going to be 10 goods. Then the annual maintenance is going to be 4 goods and 2 herds. We can absolutely afford that. We're rolling in the dough and in the cows right now. That brings up an unpleasant image. So I'm not going to use that expression anymore. But you get the point. Let's build a shrine to Uryarda, so we can get this milk blessing going. All right. So far, we have a shrine to Elmal. This reminds me of that Aerosmith song, "Something Wrong with the World Today." Anyway. Sorry, that was kind of off key. All right. It would be, I think, helpful for us to also build a shrine to Ekarna, because Ekarna is, again, that goddess of trade who helps us produce goods and trade routes and all that, the kind of stuff that I'm creating this clan to emphasize here. So I want to learn this silver tongue blessing, which was always very helpful to me in the in King of Dragon Pass in terms of helping us to negotiate trade routes. Market is also wonderful because that produces more goods. So, you know, ultimately I want to get a great temple to Ekarna is my goal, so that I can get 3 of these blessings going at once and getting all those wonderful benefits. For now, let's build a shrine to Ekarna for only 4 goods and 2 herds. It seems like a no-brainer to me. Okay, here's another random event. Shamans of the Amber Clan appear at your clan boundaries to offer you an opportunity to purchase a whistling wind spirit. Asked what it did, they say, helps win over bull-headed people. Well, we have no shortage of bull-headed people. That's certainly the case. They are willing to let it go for just 30 cows worth of portable goods. Okay, what do my clan people have to say? What does my clan ring have to say? The big blue spirit asked you... another one of these people who speaks in riddles, right? If only I could get some kind of magical artifact that could stop people from doing that. Translate from poetry into English. The big blue spirit asked Yanade, when you give me to your friend, do you value me so little that you seek nothing in return? Okay, I guess that's an injunction to always charge money for the stuff you sell. I think that's the meaning of that. Naturally, the spirit must consent to any arrangement. Oh, that's interesting. So it's possible that we might purchase this object and the spirit might choose not to help us. We don't have enough spirits. Usual rate of 25 cows worth of goods. Okay. An open purse makes one popular. Yes, it can also make one poor. Are their spirits pure or have foreigners sullied them? Okay. This is our sort of gruff, warlike guy. Worships Osara. Okay. I'm going to see if I can get them down a little bit because I'm not 100% sure that this is going to be helpful to me. Let's try offering them 26. Erastus said sometimes traders didn't think as much about diplomacy as they ought. Well, it seems like we got a good deal if they were unhappy. All right. So, what are we going to do next? Right now it's dark season. That's when it's really cold. And that's when it's a bad idea to send anybody outside of your clan because they're gonna get the sniffles, right? They're going to be driven back by the cold weather. At least this would happen in King of Dragon Pass. And then they would be sick. And then they, if they were on the clan ring, they wouldn't even be able to give you advice. They'd be like, in the stead or whatever, getting bed rest. So we don't want to send anybody out of the clan right now during dark season. Instead, what we want to do is we want to sacrifice, at least in my view. There's obviously a lot of ways you can play this game. But at least in my view, what we want to do is keep sacrificing for more blessings. Because these blessings are such a great thing to have. Okay. But not Ikarna. We want someone who, because right now we have a food yield shortfall, as you can see on the left side of the screen. This is a good suggestion that Zaxoro just gave me, which is to get this blessed barley blessing going. So if we build a shrine to Pella, the barley mother, that's another 4 goods and 2 herds. I think that's still, we're still doing pretty well goods wise. Although I don't usually want to let it drop, below 60 or 70 goods. Okay, let's build this shrine, and then maybe I'll hold off for a little while until we make more of a profit. But hopefully that helped the situation as far as the food goes. Now, it's storm season, which is the final season of the year. In King of Dragon Pass, this is when this is when sometimes raids would occur, although it's still very cold. This is sort of still part of winter. Then the stormy disposition of Orlanth comes out in the clans around you, and they start, getting restless and possibly attacking you. Also, trolls like the cold weather, so they tend to come out and attack during dark and storm seasons. But in any event, I think this is a good time for us to see if we can learn some more blessings. Okay, what kind of blessings do we want to learn here? Okay, Dostal is this hunting god who has sure shot, and that's going to help us hunt in the wildlands around our Tula. So I'm going to sacrifice to learn that blessing because, again, food remains an issue here. Yes, we got sure shot. Excellent. Johnny on the spot with the sacrifices. A great elk wanders onto your lands. Your hunters are about to kill it when it speaks to them, requesting a favor from your clan. I come as emissary. I come as emissary from the creatures of the wild, it intones. If you are willing to forego game hunting for a period of 2 years... Oh, sorry. It will grant you a blessing, ensuring that the following 4 years of hunting will prove especially fruitful. We have too few young now and need sanctuaries so that they will live to adulthood. Okay, let's see here. Kill and eat the elk. I don't think we necessarily want to do that. Obviously, this is some kind of, powerful nature spirit who we don't necessarily want to antagonize. Zarlin wandered from many countries. Another more story time from our chieftain Choraila here. Zarlin wandered for many months in the company of a talking bear, as one does. One day it bared its claws and said, "All in all, I am still a bear." What more can you say? Zaxoro says, "Of course we must aid the creatures of the wildlands. My spot on the circle will aid a spirit rite." Okay. We don't have, hospitality to game animals. I mean, come on, this is kind of a special elk right here. I mean, it's elks. Its antlers are like as big as it right here. Obviously, it's not some kind of, bad mojo going on or significant mojo anyway. Sometimes an awakened animal spirit resides in a physical animal body. I think we're getting warm here. I think that's exactly what this is. We have the best chance of gaining a friend by currying favor with the gray wings. Broker a deal between the elk and another clan. That sounds good to me because I'm kind of low on food right now. So I don't necessarily want to agree not to hunt. What I want to do is see if I can, if somebody else has a little bit more food and they'd be willing to agree to this elk's terms. The creature would not hear of it. It came to us and would deal only with us. And my mood also went down. Okay, that was the wrong choice. Erastus said that we should not be surprised that animals did not understand relationships between different human clans. I know, trying to explain that to an elk in the real world, it's true, would not be very fruitful. So I guess maybe I should have figured. Although this one can talk. Okay, perform a ritual to repopulate your wildlands. Or kill and eat the... Okay, I'm definitely not going to kill the elk. Alright, what if I performed a ritual? I got a little bit of magic that I can use. How about Dostal, God of the Hunt? Okay, yeah, my goods are getting a little bit lower than they were. I was above 100, which is a good number for me. So I'm going to sacrifice some cows to see if I can. There are some gods who don't like to get sacrifices of cows, like Chalana Roy from King of Dragon Pass. My understanding is that she doesn't like blood sacrifice, so you have to give her goods. And then there are some that do specifically like getting blood sacrifice. And presumably that's also the case in 6 Ages. The priest said they could feel that their magic had lessened, but the elk said nothing had happened. Dostar was in no mood to obey the whims of some elk. Come on, I'm a god. I'm listening to some talking elk. Get the hell out of here, he said. If you were willing to forego game hunting for a period of 2... Okay, this is the same thing. All right, well, it seems that I have no way to get out of this. I could say no. You know what? A blessing ensuring the following... Well, I guess there are still some things I can do to expand my pastures and fields. So if I can give up hunting for 2 years, if it can help me with hunting after that, I think that's a good deal. If those are my only choices. Do I intend to keep my side of the bargain? Of course. Okay, I lost some herds. So my hunters are not going to hunt. There's hunting stress in the left-hand side of the screen as a result of that. Hopefully I didn't just doom us to starvation. Although starvation is always an ever-present risk in the harsh world of Glorantha. Wilds magic stress. Limited pastures. Okay, so right now is storm season. Can I do something about these pastures right now? No, because that would require a venture, as far as I understand. So maybe, I think the best thing to do now would be to try to get a blessing that will help with our food situation. Let's see. Oh, Rolandar is like. Oh, that's right. He's the Lancor Mai guy. He's into custom and tradition and the law that binds the clans. Although often that's very vague. And spirits can actually file lawsuits in this. The law operates very differently in the world of Glorantha than it does here in the Earth world. So, okay, we've got Blessed Barley going. What else can I do as far as hunting is concerned? Oh, Nealda. Okay, right. Okay, crafting's going to help us get more goods. Actually, her blessings are not that food-oriented. Rutal. Okay, there we go. Inila's the goddess of foraging. So I'm going to sacrifice to her to try to win this forager blessing. I don't think that the agreement that I made with the giant elk, I don't think that stops me from foraging. It's just a matter of it doesn't want me to kill animals. So I'm going to sacrifice some goods for this blessing. Hopefully I get it. Her find blessing. Okay, I actually wanted Rutal, but if I sacrifice again and I make my, the die rolls go well, then I'm going to be able to get the other blessing the next time I do a sacrifice for a blessing. So, Van Roste and Jevon died of old age. Their children took utmost care with the funeral dolls. So that's good to know. Doesn't everybody hope their children would do the same with their funeral dolls? Take good care of those things at least. Okay, those people, I thought, okay, for a second I was worried that the people who died were on the ring, because of course that can happen. They're mortal as well. But those were people just like other nobles in the clan. So thankfully, at least the composition of the ring wasn't affected. Although, of course, I do grieve for Jevon and whatever the other person's name was. So, Sacred Time. Chorila 5, that means, I believe that's the 5th year of the chieftainship of Chorila, who was, again, our current chief, who likes to speak to me in riddles. Unfortunately. Okay, so here's what happened. 24 babies born, 20 children were initiated as adults. The clan has 18 more people, 17 fewer head of cattle, 2 more horses than we did last Sacred Time. Our crafters produced 44 cows worth of goods. Oh, my goods are actually relatively low right now, even though my shrine maintenance is pretty low at the moment too. I don't really have that many shrines. Let's see if we can get another one of these trade routes going. So I had 10 magic this turn. I allocated 2 of it to diplomacy to try to get these trade routes going. I hope to do a little bit of exploring crafts for goods. Let's see. We need to. We're going to need something having to do with food, right? Because the food situation, I think, remains bad until we do a few more what are called ventures. You're about to see I'm going to do another one. Harmony always seems good. Let's see. Ritual. And then I'm going to save... health is something that helps you cure people in your clan who have fallen ill or they've been wounded or something of that nature. I don't think that I have a lot of sick people right now, so I'm not going to take magic in that. And as you could see from the last year, you can spend magic to try to get through random events unscathed, which almost never happens, or relatively unscathed, I should say. Okay, the Griffin clan has slipped even further into poverty. Someone should put them out of their misery. Well, that's not going to be me. I'm a little bit more into, positive sum games. I'm a little bit more into trade here than killing. The Urgashites who have been staying with his guests demonstrated vigilance as herders, but do not truly fit in. It's because of those weirdo goats, I know. That should have tipped me off. They are now leaving us. I'll never look at a weird goat the same way again. Those kind of goats that are used for goat yoga that are unnaturally small, I'm going to be suspicious of them in the future. So they are now leaving us in hopes of finding a clan that will truly welcome them. All right, well, bon voyage. Like I said to Grand Legion, this is French-Canadian sensitive or accommodating. We have too many sick people. Sacrificing to Orissa should be our highest priority. Then build her a shrine. Okay, interesting. Okay, I do actually have a bunch of sick people. See, I didn't know that during Sacred Time. But now I'm going to try to do something about that because that's a lot of sick people. All right, let's see here. Magic. Now, the healing goddess is Orissa. We want to get a blessing from her. So we're going to sacrifice, and since she's the healing goddess, I don't want to sacrifice cows because she probably doesn't like blood sacrifices since she's all about things and people not dying. So I'm going to sacrifice to learn mysteries. The hope blessing. Okay, not exactly what I wanted, but again, it's a step in the right direction. Okay, let's see here. What's next? Let's see if we can get another trade route going. So let's look at the map. See who's got a relatively good attitude toward us right now. One thing it would be useful for, it would be useful to see like the dotted lines in King of Dragon Pass that used to show who you had trade routes with, but I guess you can still see that when you look at the wealth screen, which is an improvement because you can look at the right hand side of the screen and see who you have trade routes with. Let's see if I can develop a trade route with the Amber. They've got a good attitude toward me, and they're not one of these weirdo hyphenated chariot riding clans. I don't know that I necessarily want to deal with them. So let's try to see if we can establish a trade route with the Ember clan. Okay, here we have we have a renowned bargainer. I believe that's even higher than excellent. So here's someone who's likely to be able to strike a great deal. I want to establish a trade route, and we've got the escort set up. So I'm going to go to the Amber clan. Aggressive pursuit of trade. I like that in a clan. So hopefully we can come to a mutual understanding. The Griffin clan announces a prize of 20 cows to the clans who brings them the biggest deer in the next 2 weeks. Hunting competitions bring glory to the winners. Okay, this, I don't know whether this will violate the deal that we made with the elk, the giant elk, to not hunt. So I don't necessarily want to agree to do this. What do the rest of you decide, says the gruff, warlike guy. Don't sacrifice more to Dostel than we stand to win. Yeah, well, my goods are pretty low, too, so I think I don't necessarily want any part of this. Divine rituals do not always yield the desired results. That's an understatement, isn't it? I don't have an opinion on this. Yeah, I think the game is kind of testing me here to see if I'm willing to break my oath to the giant elk, and I think I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do nothing. The hunters agreed this was a poor time to compete. Okay, great. No morale bonus? Oh, no love. All right. Here we are during fire season. Still, it's very hot during fire season, as the name implies. We've got 1 season of food stockpile. So I think, yeah, okay, let's see. We want to make sure that we can, we want to send out a trading expedition to try to trade for some food. Our goods went up a lot. Now we just gained 50 goods because we've got a great market. We've got, a trade route going on and so forth. So let's send out another caravan. And here, I don't know whether this is the picture of the guy who's based on David Dunham, but I know that the pictures of the members of the clan ring often resemble the actual people who worked on the game. And there was one of Greg Stafford in the original King of Dragon Pass, like the creator of Gloriantha. I know there was one of David Dunham. But yeah, David, if this is you, let me know. All right. I want to buy food. And I'm going to sell goods. So let's get that done. One of your young foragers found a strange object half buried in the earth while picking berries. Yeah, that looks pretty intense, doesn't it? Your priests and shamans say this clay mask must be a magical treasure of some kind. What do you do with it? Let's see. It looks kind of sinister to me. Maybe we can trade it for some money. Trade it for goods. Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. See, there we go. There's a practical suggestion. You know, when you stand to make money, that's when you stop talking riddles, huh? You let shamans whose spirit magic differ from ours. Some of us embrace their ways. Oh yeah, we do have a shaman. Sacrificing the mask will aid us in rituals for a few years. Keeping it will strengthen us when we work magic. Yep. Okay, yeah, our Karna worshipper recommends trading it away, and two of us. We should. It may be strange, but we should demonstrate our openness to change by holding on to it. Yeah, I guess that's maybe I'm thinking a little bit too much of a linear way about this. Maybe I'm thinking too concretely, but that doesn't necessarily seem. That doesn't seem like a very practical benefit to me. We do not know who peopled the land before we came here. That doesn't mean their magic is dangerous, but it doesn't mean it isn't either. If it does not help us fight, we should hold on to it until we get a chance to trade it for a treasure that does. Okay, so it seems like the consensus and what I'm thinking of, because, you know, I'm such a money-grabbing bastard, let's face it. I want to trade it away. Who do you trade it to? Or try one of our trading partners. I guess we only have one trading partner right now, which is the Grey Wing. Yeah, how about that? What do you guys think of that? Handsome price, 55 cows. Now that is some skillful bargaining. Our caravan is back. The Amber traders were pleased to receive the first caravan we sent to them. They agreed to trade with us in a regular... Okay, so now I've got 2 trade routes going, which is great. That's going to increase my goods. Caravan is back from the Griffins. The Griffin traders were pleased to receive our first caravan. We traded 50 cows worth of goods for less than 4 weeks of food. They were interested in buying a scroll recording tribute, although I'm fairly sure they couldn't read it. That's interesting. Maybe they meant to trade it to somebody else. Okay, now we're rolling in the goods again. And the herds are in a pretty good situation too. So, it may be a good time to build another shrine. Ideally, a shrine that's going to help us accumulate food, because our food is still low and we've got this hunting stress as a result of this bargain that we made with the elk a while back. So yeah, like I was saying, there's the decisions that you make, they reverberate for years in this. Busanari, oh okay, Busanari is the cow mother. Okay, I was right about that. Daughter of Nialda makes our cattle prosper. I think that's something that I would like to see happen. So I'm going to sacrifice to Busanari. I can afford to be generous here. Usually I think you don't want to sacrifice any less than 7 goods, or else the gods may just see that as insulting and not do anything. Am I rolling through the 6 ages? I'm rolling in the deep, that is the 6 ages. We'll see if I can have it all, as it were. Busanari revealed the workings of her milk blessing. Your chieftain, lies near death after contracting a debilitating ailment. Okay, this is much more grim than anything that's happened so far. The priestesses say they have not seen its like before. It is a sign of a darkening world, they say. They have already tried the usual healing rites, whirling in the women's tent to seek Arissa's aid. If she recovers at all, it will take time. They will continue to pray and whirl for Charioteers. You keep whirling. You whirl 24/7. But worry that it will not be enough. What does she have to say? Do something about this. Help me not be sick anymore. Fell into a long sleep from which they said he would never recover. Well, thank you. That's exactly what I don't want to be happening here. Arissa will be stronger against disease than spirits. Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, we're rolling in the goods. Rolling through the ages. And a favor is worth 20 cows. Charioteers made good, simple decisions. As much as I didn't understand a word she said sometimes, she made good decisions. Seek outside aid. Don't forget how valuable favors are. Well, then why are you telling me to hope for the best? I think I'm going to make an additional sacrifice. And this is presumably going to be a sacrifice to the healing goddess. So I'm not going to want to sacrifice cows. I'm going to sacrifice said this disease reflected a rupture in the celestial firmament. Some of the gods themselves had sickened. Perhaps we should prepare for the worst. That's always what you want to do in Dragon Pass in 6 Ages, isn't it? Alright, so she is still sick, unfortunately. With our chieftain sick, I wonder whether I should reorganize or how long. Let's see. I don't know how long it's going to take for her to recover. Maybe if we make sure that we've got a blessing from the healing goddess going, that will help us get, that will help her get well soon. So, let's sacrifice for a blessing. Curing blessing. That's exactly what I wanted. That cures the sick. Visitors come from the Ruby Gate clan to console you on Sharila's continuing illness. Well, thank you. How about doing something about it? How about a blessing or something? Their words of condolence soon slip into a veiled demand. When Sharila passes and the time comes for your elders to settle on a successor, they wish it to be known that you will regret choosing anyone other than Hiernon. Several marriages tie Hiernon's family to that of the Ruby Gate chieftain. Wait, are you people saying that you're responsible for this illness? Because if that's the case, there's going to be trouble. What does the ring have to say about this? Each clan should go its own way, but it's easier for strong clans than weak ones. Next chieftain must be expert in invoking spirits. We can't let others interfere in succession. Yeah, no, what the hell are you telling me who to put in my ring? I can't allow them to do this. I think that that's too much of a sign of weakness to this clan that obviously looks kind of warlike. Yeah, well, I agree with General Martok here. I agree with the Klingon on the ring here for once. They are the strongest rider clan. Okay, not surprisingly. So basically they're demanding tribute from me. I'm going to quietly refuse. Do I gift them? Yes, I do. And again, that's what goods are for, right? Greasing the wheels and keeping diplomacy working and keeping yourself from being killed. We were making a mistake, but this did not offend them. Our succession was our business. Charila died. I had better not find out that these people caused that. Because then I don't care how strong they are. My arrows and spears will fall like rain upon their heads. Alright. But because I have no chieftain at the moment, I need to reorganize. Due to the unfortunate death of Charila. She was a worshipper of Busanari, the cow goddess. I would like to have one of those. We have a lot of sick as well. Let's see if we can get somebody else, presumably, or preferably with an orientation toward food, who I can put on the ring here. A lot of these shaman people, who I suspect that having more than one of them in the ring would be some serious trouble, and we'd start to see lots of goat dung being thrown at diplomatic liaisons who come to my Tula. Let's see here. Hyalor, we've already got a Hyalor worshipper on the ring. A worshipper of Irissa would be an interesting thing to add. Let's make sure that I don't already have one here. Because we have a lot of sick people. Perhaps bringing a worshipper of Irissa will help to cure some of these sick people. So that's what I'm going to do. She's a little bit young, a little bit green, but hopefully she can help with this problem that we're having. Only 6 families are on the circle. ACOT is missing. Okay. And presumably that's going to cause antagonism and so forth. But we just saw a random event. Indeed. Hashtag Je suis Sharila. Sharila. Hashtag we are all Sharila. It's going to be trending very soon. In her honor. Anyway. Zaxoro. Okay, so we need an ACOT on the ring, apparently. That may mean that I'm going to take this Osara worshipper off the ring. Who's from the ACOT family? Okay, a shaman. Don't want that. She worships Inilla. Okay, right. Okay, goddess of... Okay, foraging. That's going to be useful. Or the Rudal blessing. So basically finding roots and berries to eat in the ground. Sounds tasty to me. Let's do it. I'm going to remove her, and I'm going to put in the Inilla worshipper, who is of the esteemed family of Akot. Presumably esteemed. As we said we would, we ignored Ruby Gate demands. If this brings reprisals, so be it. Molan Labe. Okay. Yeah, here we have these chariot people being obnoxious. Members of the Chav Ashda clan, one of these hyphenated clans that I was talking about before that you have to be kind of careful of. They have maimed one of your young warriors, Ivarn. They are wheel people who share a history, language, and most of the same gods with you. Despite your joint heritage, this is the sort of thing they sometimes do, you know. They're a wacky sort that way. They're playing, yeah, with their silly pranks of throwing people out of wagons. Despite charioteer nobles caught Ivarn, dragged him onto one of their fast-moving carts, and blinded him with a punishing solar bolt. Okay, that seems like a little bit more than a harmless trick. Then they threw him from the cart. The rest of us could behold the shame they'd inflicted. Ivarn, who will never fight again, says he wished to rise to the sky. This means stepping into a sacred pyre to be burned alive, as one does. He would then rise as smoke into the stars and fight alongside the gods there. Okay. Okay, my first instinct is to say, is there any way that I can cure this problem? My second instinct is to, as I'm sure this guy is going to agree, that we need to go after these scumbags. They say it is because we honor a man, he alore, as a god. So you throw somebody out of a wagon for that, who didn't do anything to you? I mean, come on. This is why I'm wary of these chariot people. They seem kind of barbaric in some of their customs, even though they're related to us. Attack them. Let's see. Magic might grow his eyes back. We do have an Orisa worshipper on the ring. Spirits might lend him their eerie sight. Let's see, but the wheels do not follow him and so deny his truth. His injuries are severe. Sacrifice goods, okay. All right. Well, goods are still, are still doing fairly good, as it were. No pun intended. Bad pun intended. Call on the goddess Orisa to restore his eyes. Okay, let's see if this works. Which vibrators they whirled, after ritually ensuring that its strong magic did not render his seed barren. Yeah, impotence is a side effect of this ritual, just like it is with a lot of drugs that are available over the counter today. After ritually ensuring that its strong magic did not render his seed barren, they passed their hands over Ivarn's scorched eyes. Ivarn's sight was partially restored. He would never fire an arrow again, but could still fight close up with spear and with shield, as they say in 300. Ivarn promised to do this with extra bravery from now on. He said the next time we raided it should be against the hated Chav Ashdai. All right. Well, that was probably the best outcome that we could hope for. I guess we could have raided the Chav Ashdai. That would have resulted in some people dying. Let's see. 2HTW/S. Is that like a long thrusting spear, Grand Legion? Is that like some sort of warrior terminology that I don't remember? I guess we are the Blazing Axe clan, which suggests that we would like to, chop people up with blazing axes and so forth. At least our name sounds kind of scary and badass that way. We haven't been doing any of that. I've been assuming, based on my experience with King of Dragon Pass, that I was going to be attacked myself and have a chance to show off my combat prowess. But that hasn't happened yet, so maybe I'm going to need to take the fight to my neighboring clans. Perhaps these Chav Ashdai bastards. They seem to be most deserving. But we're not going to do it during dark season because it's too cold, and we send people out, and we're just going to end up with lots more sick people, and we've got too many sick people as it is. So, on that very subject, back to Orisa. Let's build a shrine to Orisa so we can get this curing blessing going and restore some of these sick people to health. We need the help of the gods to ensure people are fed. We do have sufficient food for now, but it won't last if we don't take action. I expect we will eat more than we produce. Okay, well, yeah. This, and this, I think, is a problem at the beginning of the game that always happens because there are all these things you need to do to try to settle into the valley, right? You have to expand your pastures and your fields, and you have to decorate your clan hall and so forth. So at the beginning of this game, I think this is to be expected, right? That you're having food problems. I don't think it's necessarily because I'm making bad decisions. I'm sure that the A-Sharp team will let me know if I'm wrong. Or maybe they won't. Maybe they should not. Actually, don't give me any spoilers. I want to succeed by failing in this, as I think I've heard one of my clan ring members advocate. We need, okay, we should ask for Busanari's milk blessing, not a bad idea. Okay, let's see here. It's dark season, so that is a good idea to try to sacrifice for a blessing. We have the milk blessing going. How many shrines do I have up at the moment? I have 5. So that's getting up there. You know, I probably should get a little bit more income as far as goods are concerned before I go above, let's say, 6 shrines. Shrines seem like they're a little cheaper to build in this than they were in King of Dragon Pass, which I appreciate because I like having lots of blessings. All right, let's see here. Let's build for this milk blessing. Doesn't cost anything to ask a spirit for help, except perhaps your own soul. Shining Blossom emissaries petition you for help. Your friends in the Grey Wing clan have been squeezing them past the point of endurance. They've whooped at us. That's the worst part of it. That's a mortal insult there. Stolen horses and cattle and pressured our trading partners. We even suspect them of laying a curse on us. Just now they attacked us, killing 5 warriors and wounding 10 others. They will not listen to us, but respect you. I'm sorry, I forgot about the voice acting there for a second. Please convince them to let us alone. Well, these Grey Wings, they're pretty friendly to me. They might listen to what I have to say. I don't want anybody to fight here. You know, we've got enough of these monstrous enemies, these like chaos enemies and so forth in the area. We have too many of those to be fighting among ourselves, in my opinion. He said, certainly for a grass-covered anvil and that fleet horse of yours. That is how he got his scar. So here, it seems like it's a requirement to be chieftain of my tribe, that you have to speak in these riddles, right? They just get this sense of entitlement when they get this chieftain's seat, that, you know, they think they can speak in poetry rather than giving me helpful advice. Peace between Hyala rings is good, but not required. The Grey Wings can hold their breath a long time, and that's... I can't think of a better reason to be helpful to them. Both sides will hail us if we broker peace. Yep, that's what I'm thinking as well. Of all the clans in the valley, these 2 like us best, and that's why this game cruelly did it to me, you A-sharp bastards. Without an emperor to tell clans what to do, you must sometimes rely on outside parties to mediate disputes. Okay, but you don't really have an option in mind there, do you, boyo? At least he didn't tell me to kill them both, which is what I was expecting to say. Kill both those clans. Just get them both out of our hair. Grey Wing priests are more likely to bring gods here. Okay. I'm going to talk... I have a lot of people who are very skilled at bargaining, so I'm going to talk to these Grey Wings and see what I can accomplish. Okay, diplomacy is actually what we're using here. But I do have some good diplomacy here on the ring as well. So let's see what we can do here. The field is lost. Everything is lost. And anyway, that was just a request from Grand Legion that I say that. The black one has fallen from the sky. Towers and ruins lie. Anyway, enough of the voice acting. Let's send Balindrai. She's already brokered a couple of great deals for us. And let's hope that the field is not lost. And everything is not lost. All right. Who do I send to mediate? Okay, yeah, I guess it's possible. I should send some sort of escort because it's possible that they'll decide to just, you know, slaughter us or something like that. Because sometimes people make decisions like that in this game. All right. I'm going to send some swords, some weapon thanes, and I'm going to send about 8 bows. There we go. Do you take a gift? Yeah. Okay, I'll take a moderately sized gift. The Grey Wing leader said they esteemed us highly, but were not prepared to abandon a target they've spent so much effort softening up. I guess at least they're honest that they intend to kill these people. When we told the Shining Blossoms, they responded with dismay. Balindrai said we might have succeeded if our gift had been bigger. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, as much as I love bribery, I can't bribe the entirety of this valley into submission. All right, so you 2 are just going to have to keep going at it, I guess. Housing stress, limited pastures, food yield, shortfall. Am I on a venture this year? There's no venture in progress. Okay, well, that's something that we want to correct immediately, isn't it? There are inadequate pastures, so we want to clear pastures. Let's do that. We had cleared enough land for our cows and goats. Haldai reckoned that we now had pastures big enough for our herds. All right, some good news, huh? That's something that was sorely needed. We are being raided by the Ruby Gates. They're attacking because we ignored their choice for a chief. Okay. I guess I should have expected this. They slipped past our patrols and we could raise only 5 swords and 54 of the bows in time. Indirai was worried at how many of them there were. Yeah, so am I. I think we want to survive, and I think... Do we have magic to spend on this? I think we want to spend a couple magic points. Let's proceed. Okay, now this is more granular as far as the choices that I can make for this battle strategy. I can try to parlay during battle. That does not seem to be a good idea. No, Grand for Legion, it really does not sound like enough. If I try to keep my distance from them and I skirmish, that may help. We exchanged missile fire with the Ruby Gates. We got the worst of the deal. Well, there's so many of them, I'm not surprised. What if I evade? We managed to withdraw while the Ruby Gates were performing some sort of ritual. Oh, so we ended the battle. Okay. 5 of my bows were wounded. Nobody died. I actually killed 2 of their people, including one of their weapon things. So hopefully they're not going to mess with me again. They drove off 7 cows and... Okay, they also stole some stuff from me. But in the grand scheme of things, they didn't steal a lot. I'm down to 55 goods. I'm going to probably try to make an offer of peace to these people and see what I can do with that. Irada, there is no evade command. That's funny. A reference to, what was it, like Total War Samurai was it the name of the game? But I'm not as honorable as the samurai. I'm a little bit more pragmatic. Indeed. Or at least the enemy's gone, which, you know, is just as good, Grand for Legion, in circumstances like this. Because these people are apparently the strongest clan in Dragon Pass. Or not, I'm sorry, not in Dragon Pass. Whatever this river valley is called. All right. Only 6 families are on the circle. Oh, so is this a problem? Yeah, okay. So the clan is not very happy, but that I think is still because we have, we need to do another venture. I think it looks like a venture takes an entire year regardless of when you start it. So that if you start it during sea season of 1 year, it'll last until the following sea season. That's my understanding, but A-sharp people, please let me know if I'm totally off the reservation again. All right, we've reduced our sick from 24 to 11. That's good. It looks like our blessing to the healing goddess is helping out. We've got this ongoing venture going on. All right, let's see what we can do as far as... well, let's see. It's storm season. It's still going to be very cold, so I'm not sure that we want to explore. Let's see here. Can we explore our own Tula? Let's see if that works. There's always a lot to be found on your own Tula. Or whatever it's called in this. It may not be called a Tula. That may be an Orlanthe term. But anyway, let's try this out. A legal dispute between 2 of your families has been settled, but rancor continues. By Elmal's fiery beard, I have ruled on this matter, and it is settled. Stan Lepard, by the way, did a fantastic job on this, as he did in the previous game. You really get a sense that this might be what, you know, Bronze Age music actually sounded like, even though I guess probably very little of it was transcribed, except on stone tablets and things like that are indecipherable today. All right, so anyway, this legal dispute. Chukord brought a legal case against Incinor for grazing herds on land allocated to his family. As tradition demands, they took their case before 3 clan elders who ruled in favor of Incinor. 2 appeals, first to other elders and then the chieftain, affirmed this ruling. Even so, Chukord's family, the Karans, continue to complain and argue. Other families now say that their bickering sows discord throughout the entire clan. All right, let's see what we can do here. Well, you know, whoever's in the right, I don't like the idea of these people stirring up a lot of trouble and lessening the clan mood. So let's see what we can do about that. Goods, not doing that well on goods, actually. Let's see. There's an option to bring this guy in who has good diplomacy. Let's see if we can... let's see if we can bring him in and he can work his negotiation magic. This attempt seemed merely to infuriate them further. Okay, so that failed. We spent some time exploring our new home. Okay, that's good. Nobody got sick as a result of exploring during storm season. It looks like there's a little bit more leeway to explore. And you don't automatically get driven back if you explore during one of the cold seasons. We spent some time exploring our new home. We all know we found something important, but when we woke this morning, no one could remember just what it was. Some thought it was probably bad, others that it was extremely valuable. We spent some time trying to rediscover it, but finally gave up. Maybe it is only visible one day per year. Okay? That's all very interesting, but not necessarily very helpful. Spirits can be as lazy as the rest of us. They will not help unless we ask. For example, the healing spirit has not given us its benefit in a while. In general, other rider clans think poorly of us. I wonder if I could send out more of my people. Let's see. This is sacred time again. This might be a good time for us to leave off here. We've done a little bit of an introduction to the game, and I'm archiving the streams. This is gonna be up on the on my Twitch channel. But anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this. Oh no, Mendridi. No, we're not nomads. We were formerly nomads who have now attempted to settle down and start farming and raising our goats and so forth in this valley, where all these other rider clans, which are the people in this game, have settled. So I'm gonna call it a video for now, but thank you very much for watching, and we'll do this again at the same proverbial bat time and channel the following week.